You know that feeling when something's off, but you can't quite put your finger on it? When she's right there next to you, but somehow 1,000 miles away? Here's what nobody tells you. Women don't leave relationships the way men think they do. They don't wake up one morning and decide it's over. They leave slowly, in pieces, in moments you're not even paying attention to. And by the time you notice the distance, she's already been gone for weeks, maybe months. The brutal truth? She's been showing you the exit signs the entire time. You just weren't reading them. Most men think they'll see it coming, that they'll get a warning, a conversation, a chance to fix things. But that's not how female psychology works. Women communicate in a language most men never learn to speak, a language of subtle shifts, emotional withdrawals, and behavioral changes that happen beneath the surface of everyday life. Today, I'm revealing the 7 psychological shifts that happen inside a woman's mind right before she checks out completely. The last one, it's the point of no return, the moment where nothing you say or do will bring her back. And most men are causing these shifts without even realizing it, making the same mistakes day after day, eroding the foundation of their relationship one thoughtless action at a time. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and drop a like. Have you ever felt this distance growing in your relationship? Drop a comment because understanding this pattern might be the difference between keeping her or losing her forever. And trust me, once you see these patterns, you can't unsee them. In your relationship, in your past relationships, in the relationships of everyone around you. The first shift happens long before you notice anything wrong. It's invisible, silent, and already changing everything at the foundation level of your relationship. She stopped seeking your validation. In the beginning, she cared what you thought. She'd ask if her outfit looked good. She'd tell you about her day and watch your reaction carefully, reading your face for approval or interest. She'd share her dreams and wait to see if you believed in them. She'd run decisions by you, not because she couldn't make them herself, but because your perspective mattered to her. That wasn't insecurity, that was investment. She was including you in her internal world, inviting you into the most intimate space a person has, their thoughts, their aspirations, their self-perception. But when that first shift occurs, she stops asking. Not because she suddenly became confident, but because your opinions stopped mattering. And this is where men get it completely wrong. You think, great, she's more independent now, she's growing, she doesn't need constant reassurance anymore. No, she's not growing toward you, she's growing away from you. There's a massive difference between healthy independence within a relationship and independence that's preparing for a relationship's end. When a woman is emotionally invested in a man, she naturally seeks his perspective, not because she needs permission, but because she values his input. She wants him to be part of her decision-making process. It's how women bond. It's how they create intimacy. It's how they test whether you're paying attention, whether you care, whether you're truly present in the relationship or just occupying space. Think about it from an evolutionary psychology perspective. For thousands of years, women needed to ensure their partners were invested, attentive, and reliable. A woman who chose a man who didn't pay attention to her, who didn't value her thoughts, who didn't participate in her world, was a woman whose survival and her children's survival was at risk. So women developed sophisticated mechanisms for testing male investment. Seeking validation isn't weakness. It's a bonding mechanism. It's an invitation to connect. But when that bond starts fracturing, the first thing that goes is this need for his validation. She starts making decisions without you. She changes her hair without mentioning it. She takes a new job and you find out after she's already accepted. She's planning her future and somehow you're not in the picture anymore. She books a vacation with friends and tells you about it rather than discussing it with you. She makes major purchases without your input. She rearranges her entire life and you're finding out about it the same way a casual acquaintance would. The trap most men fall into is celebrating this shift. They think she's becoming more mature, more self-sufficient. They don't realize they're celebrating their own irrelevance. Because here's the reality. A woman who's truly happy in her relationship doesn't shut her partner out of her world. She expands that world to include him more. She brings him deeper into her thoughts, her plans, her vision for the future. The more invested she is, the more she wants him involved. When she starts contracting, when she starts building walls instead of bridges, That's not growth. That's preparation for exit. She's psychologically separating herself from you. She's practicing what life looks like when you're not a factor in her decisions. And every time she makes a choice without you and realizes she's fine, maybe even better, without your input, she's reinforcing the narrative that she doesn't need you. Here's what makes this shift so insidious. It feels gradual and natural. One day she asks your opinion about something. The next day she doesn't. You don't notice because it's just one instance. But over weeks and months, the pattern becomes clear. The questions stop coming. The, what do you think about this? Conversations disappear. The, I was considering this. What's your take? Moments vanish. And by the time you notice, she's already restructured her entire mental framework to exclude you from the decision-making process. You've gone from partner to observer, from collaborator to audience member, from someone whose opinion shapes her choices to someone who's simply informed of choices already made. What do you do when you notice this? First, stop pretending it's normal. Stop telling yourself that this is just her becoming more independent. Independence in a healthy relationship looks like two strong individuals choosing to build together. What you're seeing is one person building alone. Second, don't overcompensate by suddenly showering her with attention. Don't start forcing your opinions into every conversation. Don't become overbearing or controlling. That reeks of desperation and only confirms what she's already feeling, that you weren't paying attention before, and now you're only paying attention because you sense you're losing her. Instead, rebuild value, not through words, but through action. Show her, don't tell her, that you're a man worth being invested in. If you've let yourself go, if you've become predictable and boring, if you've stopped growing, why would she seek your validation? What value does your opinion hold if you're not someone she respects and admires? Think about when she was seeking your validation constantly. Who were you then? Were you more ambitious, more passionate about your life, more present and engaged? Were you pursuing goals, building something, growing? Or have you become complacent, comfortable, coasting? You have to give her a reason to care about your opinion again. That means becoming someone whose perspective is valuable because you're doing valuable things with your life. It means being a man who's interesting, who's growing, who's challenging himself. It means being someone she can respect, not just someone she's familiar with. But here's the hard truth. If you're only noticing this now, you might already be late. This first shift is often the earliest warning sign, and most men miss it completely. They don't even realize it's happening until they're several shifts deep. So if you're reading this and recognizing this pattern, understand that there are likely other shifts already in motion. She stops defending you to others. This is massive, and most men never see it coming because it happens entirely outside their presence. In the early stages of your relationship, when her friends questioned you or her family had doubts, what did she do? She defended you. She explained your quirks. She justified your choices. She built you up in the eyes of others because when a woman is in love, she becomes your biggest advocate. He's actually really thoughtful. You just have to know him. He's going through a tough time at work. That's why he seems distant. He's not great at expressing emotions, but he shows he cares in other ways. She was your PR team, your defense attorney, your champion. She took criticism of you as criticism of her judgment, and she pushed back hard. But when that second shift happens, the defense stops. Her friends make a comment about you, and instead of pushing back, she nods. She agrees, or worse, she stays silent. That silence, it's deafening, because silence is agreement. Silence is, yeah, you're right, but I'm not ready to admit it out loud yet. When she stops being your advocate, she's already begun the process of separating her identity from yours. She's creating distance not just between you and her, but between you and her entire social circle. She's preparing everyone, including herself, for your absence. She's slowly rewriting the narrative of your relationship from us against the world to I'm dealing with this situation. Think about the psychology here. A woman's social network is her support system. It's where she processes emotions, tests thoughts, validates decisions. It's her sounding board, her reality check, her emotional laboratory. When she was defending you to them, she was reinforcing her commitment to herself. She was saying, yes, I chose right. Yes, this man is worth it. Yes, I'm going to protect what we have. Every time she defended you, she was also defending her decision to be with you. She was justifying her investment. She was building the case for staying. And every time she successfully defended you, she strengthened her own resolve to work through problems, to see the best in you, to give you the benefit of the doubt. But when she stops defending you, she's doing the opposite. She's building consensus for leaving. She's laying the groundwork so that when she finally walks away, everyone around her will say, "Yeah, we saw that coming. You deserve better. We never really liked him anyway." She's creating a support network for her exit, not for her relationship. And here's the brutal part. You won't know this is happening because these conversations don't include you. You're not there when her best friend says, "He's still doing that thing you hate." You're not there when she sighs instead of smiling at the mention of your name. You're not there when her mom asks, "Are you happy?" And she pauses just a little too long before answering. You're not there when she starts sentences with, "I know he's not perfect, but," and that but gets weaker and weaker until eventually it disappears entirely and the sentence just ends with, "I know he's not perfect." Period. No defense, no justification, just acknowledgement of your flaws without the counterbalance of your strengths. This shift is particularly dangerous because it creates a feedback loop. Her friends and family, sensing that she's no longer defending you, feel permission to be more critical. They start pointing out things they've been holding back. You know, I've always thought, can I be honest with you about him? I didn't want to say anything before, but. And every criticism that she doesn't refute becomes evidence in the case against you. Every flaw that she acknowledges becomes more prominent in her mind. Her social circle, which used to reinforce the relationship, now reinforces her doubts. They become accomplices in her exit, often without realizing that's what they're doing. What makes this particularly painful is that you have no defense. You're not in these conversations. You can't correct the record. You can't provide context. You can't explain your side. You're being tried in absentia, and the verdict is being reached without your testimony. By the time you realize this shift has happened, your reputation in her social circle is already damaged. You've become that guy, the one they're all waiting for her to leave, the one they talk about in concerned tones, the one they've already written off. You can't control what she says to her friends, but you can control who you are. Every time you drop the ball, every time you're lazy or selfish or checked out, you're writing her script for her. You're making it easier for her to turn you into the villain in her story. You're providing the ammunition she needs to justify her exit. But if you show up consistently, if you're a man of value and integrity, if you're someone she's genuinely proud to be with, she won't have material to work with. When her friends criticize you, she'll have real, concrete examples to counter with. Actually, he just did this incredibly thoughtful thing. You don't see this side of him, but he's really there for me when it matters. The defense has to be earned. You can't expect her to go to bat for you if you're not giving her reasons to. You can't expect her to protect your reputation if your actions are indefensible. That's how you flip this, not by monitoring her conversations, but by being undeniable in your character. Be the kind of man whose actions speak so loudly that even when people are looking for reasons to criticize, they struggle to find them. Be the kind of man who makes her look good for choosing you. Be the kind of man she's proud to defend because defending you means defending her excellent judgment. But understand this, if she's already stopped defending you, if she's already agreeing with the criticisms, if she's already letting her social circle build the case against you, you're running out of time. This isn't a shift that reverses easily because it involves other people's perceptions, not just hers. Once her friends and family have written you off, they become a constant source of pressure for her to leave. Here we are. She stops initiating intimacy. This is where most men finally start to notice something's wrong. And I'm not just talking about sex, though that's part of it. I'm talking about all forms of intimacy: physical, emotional, psychological, spiritual. The entire spectrum of connection that makes a relationship different from a business partnership or a roommate situation. In the beginning, she reached for you. She touched your arm when she laughed. She curled up next to you on the couch without being asked. She texted you random thoughts during the day. She initiated conversations about deep topics. She wanted to be close to you in every way possible. She was the one suggesting date nights, planning weekend trips, initiating sex, starting meaningful conversations, reaching out to connect. But when this third shift happens, that initiation dies. You're always the one reaching out. You're always the one suggesting time together. You're always the one trying to connect. And she? She's responsive at best, distant at worst. She'll go along with it sometimes, but there's no spark behind it, no genuine desire, no enthusiasm. She doesn't say no, but she doesn't say yes with any real energy. It's compliance, not desire. It's obligation, not passion. She's going through the motions because saying no would require a conversation she's not ready to have yet, but saying yes doesn't mean she actually wants to be there. Here's what's happening psychologically. Intimacy requires vulnerability. It requires a woman to open herself up, to let you in, to risk being hurt. When she's invested in you, that risk feels worth it. The potential reward, deeper connection, feeling loved and understood, building something meaningful, outweighs the risk of being disappointed or hurt. But when she's already emotionally detaching, that vulnerability feels dangerous. So she closes off, she protects herself. Every time she opens up and you don't meet her there, every time she reaches out and you're not present, every time she risks vulnerability and gets disappointment in return, she learns to stop risking. Think about it like this. Imagine you kept offering someone a gift, something valuable to you, and every time you offered it, they either ignored it, mishandled it, or treated it carelessly. How many times would you keep offering before you stopped? How many rejections or disappointments would it take before you decided to keep that gift for yourself? That's what's happening with her intimacy. She offered it repeatedly, and somewhere along the way, you stopped receiving it well. Maybe you were distracted. Maybe you took it for granted. Maybe you were responsive sometimes, but inconsistent. Maybe you made her feel foolish for wanting connection. Whatever the reason, she learned that initiating intimacy with you is a risk that doesn't pay off, so she stopped taking the risk. This is the shift where men finally panic, because now it's obvious. Now you can feel the distance. Now the bedroom is cold. Now the conversations are surface level. Now you're living with a roommate, not a partner. Now when you walk in the door, she doesn't look up with interest. She doesn't ask about your day with genuine curiosity. She doesn't reach for you when you sit down next to her. The instinct most men have here is to force intimacy. They try to schedule date nights, thinking that recreating the environment of connection will recreate the connection itself. They buy gifts, hoping that material expressions will substitute for emotional presence. They initiate sex more aggressively, thinking that physical intimacy will rebuild emotional intimacy. But it doesn't work that way. You can't manufacture genuine desire. You can't negotiate attraction. And you definitely can't guilt someone into wanting you. All of those tactics just make things worse because they highlight the very problem they're trying to solve. She doesn't want to connect with you anymore. Scheduled date nights when she doesn't want to be there just become obligations she resents. Gifts when she's emotionally disconnected just feel like attempts to buy her affection. Aggressive sexual initiation when she's not attracted to you anymore just feels violating, like you're not respecting her boundaries or reading her signals. What you can do is become desirable again, not through grand gestures, but through becoming the kind of man she can't help but be drawn to. That means working on yourself, your body, your mind, your purpose, your presence. It means becoming someone who has options, who has value.